Before plastic air fresheners, electric dehumidifiers, and shelves full of chemical odor absorbers, many homes kept a black, dusty material in corners where trouble liked to begin. It did not look clean. It did not smell like flowers. It did not plug into a wall or come in a bright package. But in cupboards, grain bins, tool chests, cellars, shoe storage, and damp rooms, simple charcoal quietly did a job that modern homes now pay for over and over again. The strange part is not that charcoal worked. The strange part is how many people forgot why it worked. A small bowl of charcoal sitting in a dark cabinet looks almost too simple to matter. But inside that black material is a hidden world of tiny pores, empty spaces, and rough surfaces. Air passes through it. Moisture touches it. Odor molecules cling to it. And slowly, without noise, without perfume, and without electricity, it changes the little atmosphere around it. Today, when a room smells musty, most people reach for something scented. When shoes smell damp, they spray them. When a closet feels heavy, they buy packets, gels, hanging strips, or machines. These can be useful. Some are necessary in serious moisture problems. But older households often understood something. Modern products try to cover up. Bad smells are usually not the real problem. They are a signal. They point to trapped moisture, stale air, organic material breaking down, or surfaces that never fully dry. That is where the old charcoal method becomes interesting. It was not trying to perfume the air. It was not trying to trick the nose. It was dealing with the conditions that allowed odors to gather in the first place. And once you understand that, a humble piece of burned wood begins to look less like waste and more like one of the simplest environmental tools a household could own. In older homes, especially before climate control became common, people had to think differently about air. A cupboard was not just a cupboard. It was a small climate. A cellar was not just a storage space. It was a living balance of coolness, moisture, airflow, and decay. A wooden chest holding blankets, tools, seeds, or clothing could become a trap for damp air if it was closed too long. People could not press a button and dry the space. They had to choose materials that helped the space behave better. Charcoal was one of those materials. It came from wood heated with limited oxygen, leaving behind a light, carbon-rich structure. In many traditional settings, charcoal was already present because it was used for cooking, heating, metalwork, and household tasks. Small broken pieces that were not ideal for fuel could still be useful. Instead of throwing every fragment away, people found uses for it in storage, cleaning, odor control, gardening, and preservation. This did not require a modern laboratory to notice. If something smelled stale and charcoal reduced the smell, people remembered. If tools stored near charcoal rusted a little less quickly because the storage area stayed drier, the habit spread. If grain bins, cupboards, or shoes seemed fresher, the method stayed alive. Old practical knowledge often worked like that. It was tested in kitchens, barns, workshops, and storage rooms, not in polished advertisements. But the science underneath is real. Charcoal is porous. That means it contains many tiny openings and channels inside its structure. These pores create a large surface area compared with the size of the piece itself. To the eye, a lump of charcoal is just a black lump. But at a microscopic level, it is more like a maze of rough walls and empty chambers. When air moves around it, certain molecules can stick to those surfaces. This process is called adsorption, where substances cling to a surface rather than soaking all the way into a material, like water into a sponge. That difference matters. Absorption is when something is taken into the body of a material. Adsorption is when molecules collect on the surface. Charcoal can do some moisture buffering, depending on the type and the conditions, but its better known strength is surface attraction. Odor molecules from mustiness, smoke, food storage, shoes, and stale enclosed spaces can attach to the surface of charcoal. Activated charcoal, which is specially processed to create even more pore space, does this more strongly. But ordinary clean charcoal can still be useful in low-risk household situations. The old method was simple. Place dry, clean charcoal where air becomes trapped. Not scattered everywhere. Not rubbed into fabrics. Not treated like magic powder. Just placed where stale air sits. A small open bowl in a cupboard. A cloth bag in a shoe rack. A tray in a storage chest, away from delicate fabric. A container in a musty corner where airflow is poor. The charcoal sat quietly, and the space around it slowly improved, if the underlying problem was mild. But here's the part most people miss. Charcoal was not used alone in a well-designed traditional home. It was part of a larger way of thinking. Older households combined materials with habits. They aired out bedding. They lifted storage off damp floors. They kept goods in breathable containers. They opened shutters at certain times of day. They used lime wash, clay, ash, sunlight, raised shelves, and dry storage practices. Charcoal was one tool in a system that respected moisture. Modern life often breaks that system. We seal rooms tightly, fill closets until air cannot move, store shoes while still damp, put tools in plastic boxes, push furniture against cold walls, and expect a scented product to solve what is really an airflow problem. Then we are surprised when the smell returns. The old charcoal trick reminds us that the air in a small space must be allowed to recover. Imagine an old wooden cupboard in a kitchen before modern refrigeration dominated every corner of food storage. It might hold onions, dried herbs, grains, salt, jars, cloth, and tools. Some foods released smells. Some materials held moisture. The cupboard stayed closed for long periods. A small dish of charcoal would not turn it into a sterile chamber, but it could help reduce stale odors and make the space less unpleasant. More importantly, it encouraged the owner to think of the cupboard as an environment, not just a box. The same principle applied to tool storage. Rust needs moisture and oxygen. Charcoal does not remove oxygen from the air in any meaningful household way, and it should not be exaggerated as a rust-proof shield. But in a closed chest, a dry, porous material could help buffer small amounts of humidity, especially when combined with dry storage, oiling metal tools, and keeping the box away from damp floors. The lesson was not that charcoal alone saved the tools. The lesson was that dry materials, dry habits, and airflow protected the tools together. This is why the method faded. It did not disappear because it was useless. It disappeared because homes changed. Electricity became common. Packaged products became cheap. Synthetic fragrances became normal. Plastic containers replaced breathable storage. Modern apartments had less space for traditional storage habits. People became less familiar with materials like lime, clay, ash, charcoal, wool, straw, and untreated wood. The knowledge was not locked away in a secret vault. It was buried under convenience, and convenience is powerful. A product with a bright label tells you exactly what problem it claims to solve. Charcoal just sits there, looking like the remains of a fire. A scented spray gives an instant reward. Charcoal works slowly. A dehumidifier hums, lights up, and collects water in a tank. Charcoal gives no performance display. In a modern world, quiet solutions struggle because they do not announce themselves. There is also the problem of cleanliness. Many people see charcoal and think of black dust, stains, and mess. That concern is fair. Charcoal can mark fabric, wood, walls, and flooring if handled carelessly. This is one reason modern activated charcoal products often come sealed in breathable bags or filters. The old idea still exists, but it has been repackaged into something cleaner and easier to trust. The principle survived. The household memory did not. To use the lesson safely today, think in terms of small, dry, enclosed spaces. Charcoal is most useful where the problem is mild stale odor, light dampness, or trapped air. It is not a cure for water leaks. It is not a solution for mold growing on walls. It is not a replacement for ventilation in a bathroom. It is not a reason to ignore a damp basement. If a space smells strongly musty, if surfaces feel wet, if paint is peeling, if mold is visible, or if anyone in the home is reacting physically to the air, the problem needs proper investigation and sometimes professional help. For simple household use, the safest modern version is clean activated charcoal in a breathable pouch, or clean natural lump charcoal placed in a container where it cannot touch fabrics or finished surfaces. It should be dry. It should not be charcoal soaked in lighter fluid or treated with chemicals. It should not come from unknown burn materials, painted wood, trash fires, or anything that may contain toxic residue. This matters. The old method depended on simple charcoal from clean wood. Modern waste materials are not the same. Place the charcoal where air can reach it. A sealed jar of charcoal does almost nothing for the space around it. An open bowl, a breathable cloth pouch, or a ventilated container allows air contact while controlling dust. In a shoe cabinet, it can sit at the back where it will not be kicked over. In a closet, it can be placed on a shelf away from clothing. In a tool chest, it should stay in a small container so black dust does not spread. In a refrigerator, only food-safe activated charcoal products should be used because food storage has its own hygiene concerns. Then observe. This is the old skill modern people often skip. Does the space smell better after a few days? Does the odor return quickly? Does condensation still appear? Are shoes being stored while damp? Is a cold wall causing moisture to gather behind furniture? Is the cupboard too full for air to move? Charcoal may help, but it also teaches you to look for the cause. If the same smell keeps coming back, the problem is not the charcoal. The space is telling you something. There is another forgotten part of the method, renewal. Charcoal does not have endless capacity. Over time, its surfaces become occupied by moisture and odor compounds. Traditional households often replaced it, dried it in the sun, or refreshed storage materials as part of routine care. Modern activated charcoal bags are often sold with instructions for airing or sun exposure, though effectiveness varies by product and condition. The main point is simple. A passive material must be maintained. It is not permanent. This is where old knowledge was more honest than modern marketing. Older methods were practical, not magical. People did not expect one bowl of charcoal to repair a leaking roof, dry a flooded cellar, or make rotten food fresh again. They used it because it helped with small, everyday problems when combined with good habits. The power was in the system: dryness, airflow, cleanliness, sunlight, spacing, and the right material in the right place. The science of odor also explains why perfumes can fail. Many bad smells are caused by volatile molecules released into the air. A fragrance does not remove those molecules. It competes with them. Sometimes that makes a space seem fresher for a while, but the original cause remains. Charcoal works differently. It can trap some odor molecules on its surface, reducing what reaches your nose. That is why it is used in many modern filters, from air purifiers to water treatment systems, though those uses depend on proper design and maintenance. But ordinary household charcoal is not the same as a certified filter. This limitation is important. You should not use random charcoal to purify unsafe water. You should not rely on it to remove dangerous gases. You should not assume it makes contaminated air safe. Industrial and medical uses of activated carbon are carefully designed, tested, and controlled. The home storage trick is about mild odor and moisture management, not emergency purification or health protection. That boundary does not make the old method less valuable. It makes it more trustworthy. Forgotten wisdom becomes dangerous when it is exaggerated. It becomes useful when it is understood. A bowl of charcoal in a cupboard is not a miracle. It is a reminder that materials have properties, and those properties can be used intelligently. A dry, porous surface can influence a small space. Air contact matters. Moisture matters. Source materials matter. Maintenance matters. In many traditional homes, this kind of thinking shaped everything. Clay walls help buffer humidity. Lime wash discouraged certain surface problems because of its alkalinity. Raised floors kept stored goods away from ground moisture. Courtyards controlled shade and airflow. Thick walls slowed heat movement. Charcoal fit into that world because it was another material with a job. Nothing was wasted if it still had a useful property. Modern homes are more comfortable in many ways. That should not be denied. Dehumidifiers can remove large amounts of water from damp air. Exhaust fans can protect bathrooms and kitchens. Building codes, moisture barriers, and modern materials can prevent serious damage when used correctly. The lesson is not to reject these tools. The lesson is to understand the simple principles underneath them, so we do not become helpless when a small problem only needs a small solution. A musty cupboard may not need a machine. It may need less clutter, more airflow, dry storage, and a pouch of charcoal. A shoe rack may not need stronger perfume. It may need shoes dried before storage, and a porous odor absorber placed nearby. A toolbox may not need replacement tools every season. It may need dry storage, light oil on metal, and attention to where moisture enters. The old method gives us a way to think before we buy, and that may be the real forgotten secret. The charcoal itself is useful, but the mindset is more valuable. Older households paid attention to conditions. They asked where moisture came from. They noticed which corners stayed damp. They understood that smell, rot, rust, and mildew were not random enemies. They were outcomes. Change the conditions, and the problem often weakens. There is something almost uncomfortable about that idea today because modern life trains us to look for products instead of causes. A damp smell becomes a shopping trip. Rust becomes replacement. Stale air becomes fragrance. But the old charcoal trick asks a quieter question: what is happening in this space that allows the problem to survive? Once you ask that, a home starts to look different. The cabinet under the sink is no longer just a cabinet. It is a test of leaks, airflow, and trapped humidity. The closet against the outside wall is not just storage. It is a place where warm indoor air may meet a cold surface. The shoe rack near the door is not just messy. It is a collection point for moisture brought in from outside. The old method pulls your attention back to the hidden climate inside ordinary places. That is why this small black material deserves a place in the vault of forgotten practical knowledge, not because it replaces modern tools, and not because it solves every problem, but because it reveals a principle people once understood clearly. Air can be managed, moisture can be guided, and odor can be reduced without always reaching for perfume, plastic, or electricity. Charcoal is what remains after fire takes almost everything else away. What is left is light, porous, quiet, and strangely useful. In the right place, under the right conditions, it can help a small space breathe a little cleaner. And perhaps that is why older households kept finding uses for it. They saw value where modern eyes saw only dirt. This method did not vanish because it failed. It faded because it was too plain, too slow, and too easy to overlook. But the principle is still sitting there, waiting in the dark corner of a cupboard, reminding us that some solutions do not need to be loud to be powerful. If this kind of forgotten practical knowledge matters to you, subscribe to Forbidden Vaults. Because the next vault opens another old method modern life almost made us forget.